All right, hello everybody. Yes, it's just me and RJ right now. We're just still waiting on the rest of our on our panelists and all that. Yeah, so you're just going with your avatar tonight. RJ, was something up with your computer?
Nope. Computer's fine. I just don't feel like going on camera tonight. Everything's a
Okay.
mess here.
All right, with a bunch of I tell you with a bunch of books and stuff.
Yeah, I'm stacked up.
Yeah. As always, if for those of you who haven't yet, if you can like and share the stream so we can get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about catches your interest, feel free to comment or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions as best we can. We're just going to wait a few minutes, give people a chance to get in. If you can also send out some reminders, RJ, the people. I even kind of reminded Max as well as you. Or I'm sorry, not Max, Tim. Oopsie. Anyways, ah. So, anything exciting happen for you today?
No, not today. Weekend's been pretty quiet, which is what I was going for. I tried to tried to put the front tire on a motorbike and
Hmm.
realized that was a two-man job, and I needed
Hmm.
another man. So I'm gonna have to get somebody here to either put it up on blocks or hold it up while I put that tire on.
Hmm. Yeah.
A
Hmm.
little too heavy, and I only had two arms. I needed six of them.
So it sounds like you don't need just one other person. It sounds like you need more like two other people.
Well, it's like, hold the forks up, slide the tire in, slip the brake over the caliper. I'm like, that's a lot of things to hold on to at one time.
Yeah. Did you get any response to? And I know you probably just did send a reminder out, but did you get any response yet from James or George or Chris or Diana?
I'm not getting responses from anybody, nor do I see any activity that they are online. So, Christmas shopping. They're out. They're doing stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could just. I guess you and I can just run the show, and hopefully people will come in at some point. All right. So first off, anything new on what we were talking about last week?
Um,
Anything that you can share? Because when we discussed it privately, you told me there's stuff you
well,
can't share,
I
but
can tell you
anything
that
you can share.
publicly, I can tell you that Mike Barron is going to be on Fox and Friends first tomorrow morning at an ungodly hour, but that's when the show is on. It'll be on at like 5:20 a.m. Eastern time.
Which would be 2:20 a.m. East Pacific time.
Yeah, now Pacific might get a rerun. They might get a rebroadcast at a better time because I know there's whole East Coast, West Coast broadcasting that goes on with these shows. Um,
Where sometimes you have the East Coast feed and then you have the West Coast feed. As
right.
So basically, the West Coast feed might have it on at 5:20, but that 5:20 a.m. on West Coast is still it's just probably
It's still
considered
5:20. Yeah,
ungodly for those on the West Coast and for those on the East Coast. So
it didn't get any
uh,
better. But
yeah,
poor
so
Mike, he's in Colorado, so he's got to get up at 3 in the morning to do this thing.
yeah, but I mean, he's still got to get the word out and get everything. Oh, well, he's obviously in bed, but but I should have probably told you this in the message too. And again, if you had wanted to also invite Chris or Mike on as well, to the stream tonight, albeit again, Mike probably. Well, let's see. Well, it's actually only six because you said he's in Colorado, right?
Yeah, and I know that he's going to be on Pops's channel tomorrow around 3 in the afternoon my time. So on the Monday Madness, he will be regurgitating and going in depth into the whole business that he's going to be talking about on Fox and
Okay,
Friends
so he
first.
probably needs the rest right now, anyways.
Yeah, and I know that Chris is in church right now. It's a Sunday night, but I did speak with him this afternoon. So things are in exploratory phases. I'm optimistic about where things are going. So we consulted on um, on how to present things. And, he showed me his plan, and I, showed him where I think he should maybe tweak some things. And it's going forward from there. And that's all I have to say on it.
Okay, and I get that. And so is that you? Is that you in your avatar picture there, or is that?
That is me. That is a picture of me that I seeded into the evil satanic AI artwork generator engine that's out there that everyone is talking about and hating on because it scares people. It's a scary thought. It's not so scary when the auto worker finds out that there's a riveting machine or a robot going to take over his job. And it's not so bad when you find out that, oh, look, we're going to replace cashiers with self checkout because you can scan this thing over such a simple device yourself. But by golly, when it hits my industry, hey, that's evil.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
But yeah,
So,
I put this I put this image of myself into the AI engine. I said Santa Claus in the style of, and I gave it some artists like Thomas Kincaid and Norman Rockwell, and it spit out 4 examples. I'm like, upsize that one, and it did, and that's the one I kept.
very interesting. uh, so is that supposed to be kind of a dark Santa look then, like a evil Santa look or dark Santa look?
I guess maybe if I look evil, I just thought it was Santa sitting at his desk in
Okay.
front of an open window.
Oh, just without the big red suit and red hat and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah, he's in the
Well,
office.
the only reason I said dark because you said something like dark evil about the device you used. So
Oh, well,
I thought
yeah, because
maybe.
people think that AI is going to be, people want to fight it. And I'm sorry, I don't think we've ever had a technological leap forward that ever got pulled back, with the exception of thalidomide. Um,
Did you finish or
yeah, yeah,
you
I
just
did.
you just all of a sudden stopped? So it's like I'm going, huh?
Well, yeah,
Anyways, hey, Woody's in. Hey, Woody, and we are trying to get to you. The woman I've been dating has owned several original Thomas Kincaid paintings in the past. Ah,
wow,
Thomas,
originals. That's,
wow.
I mean, I've seen the calendars. I've seen the Disney calendars he did. I thought those were really cool. Now he didn't do those, of course. I think Thomas Kincaid is long past, but his studio is producing them.
After a long day of making toys, let's see. Now I'm caught up to the stream. Yep. Yep. Yeah, we were hoping that we'd, of course, as always. I hope that we can get a big crew, but sometimes it it may just be just 2 of us, just the 2 of us. We
Do
can make it if we try, just the 2 of us, you and I.
We're going to get a YouTube strike now. They're going to think that's I don't even know who sang that song now. I remembered it, but I can't remember who did the song.
Well, I hope we don't. I mean, that would just me just.
I know.
She's an older woman. Her husband treated her well, and she had some actually famous ones that I've seen puzzles made from. Yeah.
Yeah, original art is always cool to have. And that's the thing, even if AI starts doing some of these jobs, um, like, book covers or theatrical posters, or, even if it starts making comic books, and I know people who are starting to make comic books because it's gotten that good. Um, there's always going to be a call for handmade art. Um,
Mhm.
it'll be almost like a status symbol if somebody has artwork that they can say that was made by a human being. Um, so it's just like, handmade breads or organic vegetables. It'll
Yeah.
be a status
Something,
symbol.
natural is always, ultimately, no matter how far we progress, natural is always preferred. I mean, yeah, we may get to the point like in Star Trek where you can just materialize food out of like thin air, and it might taste reasonably good and stuff like that. But I think ultimately there's still nothing more. There's nothing more satisfying than something that is full on real, something real, it's like people talk, like, for example, people talk about how the internet's allowed us to be able to connect with people around the world. To a certain extent, that's true.
Yeah.
There's still nothing like having the actual experience of talking to somebody face to face and being in their
Absolutely. I mean,
presence.
I work from home almost every day, but every once in a while, we get into something complicated and we're like, you know what? Get off Zoom. Everybody get in the office tomorrow and we'll hash this out on a whiteboard because there's just a deeper understanding of what you're doing then.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think part of that's part of the reason why maybe as a society we probably lost a lot of our connectivities, because we've just kind of become so sedentary, and so don't get out much. We don't, like, people have become, even in my neighborhood, I can walk up to my local store. Um, I can walk up to my local store in about 15 to 20 minutes, up to the corner store and stuff like that. There are people in my neighborhood who will, now granted, it takes me about 15, 20 minutes, but people will still use their cars for that. If they're just going up either to just get something from McDonald's or go eat at McDonald's, or go up and grab something from like the 7-Eleven or the liquor store or something like that.
Sure.
They could walk that, but most people still use their car. They're not, granted, the cars, it is a little quicker. Yeah, maybe it does only take you 5 minutes by car, but it's like, you know,
Well, it's still better than, they could also just sit down and order it and have it brought to them later that night or the next day.
well,
So at
I
least
think
they're getting
that'd be
out.
worse though. But just the idea of just getting out. Oh, what he said, masterpiece. We used to call it. Huh.
That was a board game I kind of remember playing called Masterpiece. I can't remember how to play it, but I remember having it.
Yeah.
I remember all the cards were reproductions of all famous paintings from museums.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the other news pieces that kind of came up this last week, and I know you were on the night I was covering it too. So Kick Vic, led by Renfamous. Um, Woody's got something to say to you. You want to read that, RJ? Because it's directed at you.
Still laughing at me? Okay, what I do? I don't know, but it's probably my picture. But
Yeah. You were on when I was covering this story earlier this week, of course, and of course, Renfamous, along with leading the band at Kick Vic SJWs, went after Vic this week after he had been involved with an interview on comedian Chrissy Mayer's podcast, where he had a boomer moment. Where like a lot of us, where sometimes when we're on camera, we sometimes forget that we're on camera, and we sometimes will move in certain ways that may expose us in certain ways that we otherwise would not. RJ, do you want to maybe comment a little bit more on that?
well, I mean, here's the thing. He had his court time. He lost the case. He's been pretty much doing his own thing ever since. And here, he stands up on a camera reaching for something, and he just happens to be, like a lot of people do. They do Zoom meetings in their pajamas or in their underwear. They figure only the shirt's showing, only the blouse is showing. It's happened to a judge, for crying out loud. In a female judge, who was handling court issues over a Zoom meeting, and oops, accident happened. Well, he stood up and he was caught a glimpse of his tidy whities, and everyone acted like he was completely undressed and was flashing himself, which he was not. He did not. But the point is that these people who will tear you down, being quiet does not make them go away. They are always there, always watching, always waiting, knives drawn, ready to slash out at the first movement that you make back into social media. So, you can't win. You have to completely repudiate and eradicate them.
Yeah, well, that's easier said than done, at least via social media.
Oh, I know,
Um,
but it's the only winning strategy.
yeah. Well, I mean, and him attempting to sue that at least some people are arguing, well, maybe he shouldn't have, but I think most of us agree he got screwed over there on that.
Oh yeah, he had horrible legal representation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Ty meant well. I think he just didn't,
He waited until the last minute for everything.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
he got
fine.
caught off guard by things that he should not have got caught off guard by. So, again, horrible legal representation.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just have to wait till they try something again that's suable. Maybe Vic will get better legal representation, and granted, they can't do double jeopardy on the same set of, but
Well, it wasn't
if they,
criminal, so yeah, it's. I don't know how double jeopardy applies to a civil case. I'm sure that if there's been a judgment, then there's been a judgment, and the appeal, if it's been denied or goes through. I don't know where this is actually in the appeals process. Um,
well, basically the appellate court sent it back to so basically they could theoretically appeal again. And I think they did talk about appealing again, but again, it's going to probably be another like year, 2 years before if
yeah,
they do. But
it'll
even
be
Vic has
forever.
said he kind of wants to move on because there's not much more he can do. Chances are it's not going to.
That's what causes this to continue. Is the fact that the person who's been wronged gets tired out. They run the thing out. This is what happened with the case between your boy Zach and Mark Wade. It just went on, and then the pandemic hit, and the court systems got tied up and backed up, so that something that was supposed to be hit like I think February of 2019, maybe even 2020, I don't know, supposed to hit the courts then. Didn't hit the courts for another 2 years, and by that time they're like, you know what? Here's a settlement. Do we both agree? Yes. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
They both
Well,
dropped it.
Woody, who of course I met through Tug and all that, you're right, Woody. It's pretty much over with. At least Vic got some benefit in the public, which is true because basically, you know, the legal side of it he lost, but they still didn't really win the way they wanted to because they basically wanted Vic like. I mean, they wanted him absolutely eliminated. They wanted him just completely gone. They wanted,
Oh, they wanted him to commit suicide.
yeah. I mean, but yeah, the appeals court handed down their decision, and things are over with it. It's over, done. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so no more court.
yeah. I mean, from the legal aspect, yeah, it's over. It's just, but the problem is that these people are going to take it as,
It's a victory.
basically, they were right and we were wrong. It's like, well, yeah, he is a pedo. He is, this, that. No, he's not. First off, he was the one who was actually the plaintiff in this case, not the defendant. It proves nothing. Okay. All this whole thing proves just how much of a bunch of, you know, rear ends and female dogs these people are.
Yeah, it's
Um,
if you don't defeat them, they consider that a victory.
yeah. But again, if anything, the whole thing, Vic did come out a lot. Vic did, in some ways, come out pretty good out of this. Yeah, he may have to fork out, the money in the end, but look at what happened when it got to the court of public opinion. When basically everybody got a chance to look at what was presented, what the evidence was. The consensus is Vic never did anything wrong. Okay, Vic never did anything outright. There may have been some situations where maybe discretion would have been a better part of valor in some situations, but he didn't do anything that was outright wrong or illegal or evil. Okay,
Right.
contrary to what they want to tell you. If anything, because of all this, he got plenty of exposure and probably ended up with even more fans because of this. Okay, the exact opposite of what they were hoping for. Okay,
Yeah, he's got
he
goodwill, but he's I don't think he's making the same money
well,
doing.
he's not because he's not getting as many work, but
Yeah.
that could change over the next 2 or 3 years too, because the third point I want to make here is with Anime Matsuri, he started up his own dubbing company, which
Yes.
could give him an avenue to go out the project, and he could hire people on who aren't SJWs. He could hire people on who are willing to work with him and aren't buying into this baloney.
Success
Uh,
is the best revenge.
yeah, I mean, and they may have locked him out of a lot of the mainstream but there still are a number of cons that are still having him on as guest.
Yeah.
Maybe not as many as before, but he's still getting out the cons. He's
And
still,
and I'm not so sure that Funimation's in the financial position it was in a few years back when he was a major player there. So, he
well,
they might have pushed him out
there
of
is
a burning
okay.
building.
There is no more Funimation, RJ. There is no more Funimation, as it were. Funimation pretty much got absorbed by Crunchyroll. It's
Exactly.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
So Funimation, as everybody knew it, is gone. Okay, yeah, they still have the Dallas facilities. They still have the studios where they're probably recording stuff, but it's all for Crunchyroll now. Not so it's all under Crunchyroll's banner.
Yeah. So, like I said, they sort of pushed him out of a burning building that they didn't know was on fire.
Yeah. Oh wait. I don't think he got any more fans, but at least he can still go to conventions at all. Well, I mean, it might not be a huge number, Woody, but more people saw the story than before. Okay, he got a chance to meet more people than he did before. So that's what I meant by that. He was able to get his side of the story out there, and granted, it may not, it may, if he had, let's say, had 10,000 fans, okay, so he doesn't have 15,000, maybe he still got 11,000 though, because he got more exposure.
Yes,
He
he did.
still had the chance to meet people. They had the chance to listen to his side of the story and then make the choice for themselves instead of being influenced by these SJWs. That's what I was talking about. That's
Yeah, and of
where.
course, people who didn't even know anything about the anime industry um, were
Mhm.
taking a side in this just because of the sheer ethics and principle of the matter. And
Right.
they learned who he was, and they got introduced to what he does.
And for all if they did get introduced in, like for me, I didn't get introduced into anime, or I didn't even know what anime was until like sometime in the early 2000s. Even though, like a lot of people, I grew up watching stuff that was anime. Like I did see like some of the old reruns of like Gigantor and Astro Boy, and of course I grew up watching Voltron and Robotech, like a lot of people. But at the time, of course, I didn't know that was anime. I had no idea what anime was when I was a kid, and I saw that stuff, and then I came to find out later what it was. You know. But let's get caught up on some of these comments that Woody is making here. Laughing at your picture, RJ, because oh wait, RJ, why don't you go ahead and read that since that is directed at you?
Oh, well, laughing at your picture, RJ, because you look like Santa Claus after a day at the factory. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Because I took a picture of myself. I used it as the starting prompt for a Mid-Journey AI art project, which I am a monthly subscriber to Mid-Journey. I will be using AI art, and I will be using it frequently. And I just said, hey, Santa Claus, and gave it the old Norman Rockwell style. I said, and told it to use version 4. And this is one of the things that kicked out, and I liked it, and I said, "Yep, there we go." I look 20 years older, 50 pounds heavier, and I thought the suspenders were a nice touch.
Hmm. And then I
There's that
just
old
said hello to
1930
everybody
Buick
just
behind
to try
me.
to get the viewer count back up on YouTube, just to let them know that I was still there. And then, of course, Woody goes laugh out loud at RJ. So yeah, so basically, yeah, but he got more exposure. He now has a company that's willing to give him business, and of course Matsuri has been very supportive of Vic, not just
Yes.
in having him come to their convention, but also despite some of people like Renfamous and the gang there trying to oust him. But
I'm honestly surprised that she's still a thing. In fact, I don't even think she is still a thing. It's just
she's not. I mean, honestly, that was the first time I've even seen Renfamous in an article or anything like that in a while. you know, you almost have to think that maybe she decided to jump on the bandwagon again because maybe I don't
you
know,
almost
her
have to
delusional
go.
mind needed the attention.
Yeah, you almost have to go looking for her to see what she's doing now,
Yeah.
which
Um.
which I, which I don't.
And Woody's pointing out, um, and he does what he does really well. I'm amazed how much he gives a Shatner like Captain Kirk on the bridge. Yeah, I mean, I don't, and I would recommend for anybody, if if um if you guys haven't checked it out, Vic actually produced, directed, and starred in a Star Trek in a kind of a fan made Star Trek production he did on YouTube. It's still on YouTube. If you guys want to go check that out, Star Trek Continues. Um, you can go check that out when you have a chance. And RJ, I've mentioned this to you before too. If you wanted to share any links, like to your website or anything like that, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh, I've got nothing to share today. Nothing special going on yet, but it will be
Yeah.
very soon.
Was it have anything to do with? Oh, wait. Well, I don't know if it has anything to do with what we were talking about earlier, or is it the other thing, the story about the clock story?
Oh, that will be coming out soon as well, but I don't have any links to that yet. I've got 5 pages of art in, so 3 more to go, so it's almost done as far as the pencils and inks. So I'm excited to see how that's going out. Every page I get from Mark Oliver is a joy to behold. Now that I've had to tell him to make a couple of corrections, which are infrequent. But the only major corrections he had to do were very simple to fix because he's in Brazil, and he did 2 different scenes that involved a vehicle, and both of them had the steering wheel on the right side of the car. I'm like, we don't do that here. Gotta flip those. But they were easy fixes.
Yeah. I went to the Star Trek Continues YouTube page to get the link. I'm gonna go ahead and share it. So
Yeah, me too.
if you guys want to go check that out, here's the link to it, and you guys can go check out Vic as Captain Kirk. If you haven't seen that yet, so there's a link to that. Um, let's
I'm
see.
always surprised how people can do Star Trek films and not run afoul of Paramount.
Well, I I don't know. Maybe Paramount just Paramount seems to be pretty okay because okay, so we recently got Direct TV at our house. Um, Direct TV streaming and stuff like that, and got and a lot of stuff like that's on like Pluto TV, and stuff like that, like with the cartoons. I've
Right.
been seeing a lot more, Paramount produced stuff from the '40s, stuff like the Popeye stuff from the famous studios, Paramount Pictures, um, some of the Harvey Toon stuff like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Little Audrey, that kind of thing. novel tunes, that kind of thing. So I've been seeing
Yeah,
more.
but Paramount Star Trek fan stuff, it's like the unwritten rule is that you can make a good Star Trek fan film, just don't make it too good. Because that's what happened was they were letting people make these fan films all the time, and then somebody made one that was just phenomenally better than anything that Paramount was doing, and they got millions of hits. And Paramount came down and says, "Yeah, no, you can't do that," and they slapped them down. And everyone was like, "Well, how is this different from any of the other ones we've been doing?" Um, it was a difficult situation for Paramount to have to navigate, and I'm not sure that they successfully ever really navigated that.
Were they well? Were these films actually making money?
If you consider YouTube advertising revenue money, then yeah, they were.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that might that might have been the problem then. What was the name of the first one that was too? Oh, Woody's asking, what was the name of the first one that was too good?
I can't remember what the name of it was. I have to do some research here. Um,
Are you going off to do research right now? Is that why you just stopped talking?
well, here's the article. The Star Trek fan film isn't protected by fair use rules. U.S. judge, and this was back on 2017. The Star Trek fan film Axanar, Axanar, which had raised over $1 million via crowdfunding. They were crowdfunding the making of the movie.
Well,
Um,
if you want to share the link to that article, RJ, go for it.
this might not be the same one because this was a movie that didn't get made. Um,
Point me at.
this was one that the fan films were crowdfunding, and from what they had shown of what they were capable of doing, they raised over $1 million in crowdfunding revenue.
Hmm.
Um, and that might be a different kind of thing entirely. Um,
Because I'm going to go watch that movie. Well, RJ, if again, if you want to share the the link to that article, go for it.
yep, I just did.
Okay. It's not showing up on StreamYard yet.
StreamYard's on a 7-second delay from what shows up in YouTube
Okay,
comments,
there
which
it is.
is stupid because you'd think that YouTube would have a 7-second delay, so you'd have time to mitigate things.
So there's that one. So let's see. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do a show with only two people. When we don't
I
have as
hear
much
you. Yeah,
cross traffic, huh?
I understand that. It's you got to have some back and forth going here.
Yeah, I mean, would be nice to hear like James and the rest of them, chiming in on stuff too. But yeah. So let's see, what else can we talk about? Let's see. Well, first off, let me just check something here. See if any messages back. Nope. And of course, I did send out invites to a bunch of people. I hope including Tug. Actually, I even sent out a link to Hero. I know you guys may not know Hero Hay because he's more anime, but he's another guy I met when the whole thing with Vic started. So I sent him a link too, hoping he might pop in. But again, he's a little bit bigger. He's not as big as Tug, but still kind of he's still bigger than me though.
Yeah.
So let's see. I know you kind of only caught the very end of the Friday show. Yeah, after Tim had left, but yeah, we did. I don't know if you went back and watched any of it at all, but we covered some interesting stories in there. Of course, Dean Denton, Scientific Detective, Speed Centaur, Mass Marvel. So that stuff was pretty interesting. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this Friday's batch.
Yeah, the Umbrella Man is bigger than he used. Yeah, because because Tug decided to do more. Tug decided to do more.
Well,
more
he'd
mainstream stuff.
always done stories about people being accused of things without proof. And he always was big on due process. And he did he started in on the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. And the reaction he got to that dictated that he continued to do that. And
Mhm.
and he did that. He rode that monkey into the dirt for 2 years. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, well, he started with Vic's story, and then eventually gravitated towards the Johnny. But you almost have to wonder, once that whole thing finally fully resolves, what's gonna end up.
yeah, I mean, are we gonna get back to doing IDW financial numbers? Because that was I watched him for the comics news that he was doing.
Yeah, I like that too. I really like that too. I kind of hope, but by the time he comes back to all of that, IDW's gonna probably be out of business.
Yeah, and I'd really like to find out where things are at on Hunt the Littlest Umbrella, because that's the last book that he did, and I backed on that one, so I would like to get it. I enjoyed the first two books. I want to see this one.
And he hasn't released that yet.
Oh no, it's still being developed.
Hmm.
I don't know how much of it is drawn, but I'd like more updates on that from him.
Well, have you tried to contact him?
He's very hard to contact now. His inbox is slammed all the time. He doesn't ignore me, but he doesn't see me a lot either because he's just got so many of them.
Yeah, because well, and that's been the trick with me too. Is I usually try to send when I do send invites to him, I'll try to do it, as close to the time of the start of my broadcast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I put an article on the website that it was finally something that was, I thought, a big shift in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. So I did an article on it and I sent it to him. I'm like, and I tweeted it and I showed him the tweet count I got on it. It says, "Hey, I understand why you're doing this. This is pretty cool." He's like, "Watch this," and he tweeted my article,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched my subscriber on Twitter. I watched my Twitter followers go from 2,100 to 5,800.
Hmm.
So I'm like,
Hey,
damn.
somebody just arrived. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Sorry I'm a bit late, but
It's
you
the
know,
Canadian Shield.
yes, which is almost done. I'm just going through all the pages and doing corrections.
That sounds cool. Of course, if you want, you can go ahead and share your link in the chat if you'd like, Rick.
Yeah,
For
in a bit.
that. Yeah, we were waiting on you. It was just me and RJ for a while here. We talked about a number of things, including one of the stories I covered this past weekend regarding the Vic and this boomer moment on Chrissy Mayer's show. So we talked about some Star Trek here. Let's see. We were just talking about Tug as well, that umbrella guy. Wow, at RJ. Well, RJ, you may want to read this one.
Yeah, I saw that there. Yeah, it was an amazing moment to watch. I was like, I should have sent you a YouTube video. I could have used more YouTube subscribers than I could Twitter followers. They actually mean money. Uh, but
Yeah, yeah.
but
I'd
I
like to get a
appreciate
few
him
more.
doing it.
I'd like to get a few more YouTube followers too.
Yeah, especially when you see
Well,
you see him.
well, the followers are fine. It's just I would like more of the followers I have to be tuning in.
There you go.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It's one you can you see a lot of these channels that they got like 150,000 followers, and you watch a live stream and they got 20 people watching. I'm like, you don't have 150,000 followers. You have 150,000 bots, or a good number of bots that subscribe, or you bought some subscriptions.
Well, they could, but some people just might not be watching live
well,
streams.
I know that one of the strategies I had back when when I was watching Tug's channel more. She even acknowledged she's kind of more over in Europe. So it's probably like early morning a lot of times when I'm broadcasting, there. That's probably why she's not catching a lot of my stuff. But it would
Yeah,
still be,
and people will start watching, the replays of stuff.
Yeah.
Thankfully, YouTube does the automatic recording, and it's there immediately afterward.
Yeah.
So Rick, how's your weekend? I know you kind of popped in on Friday as well. How's your weekend going?
Oh, good. Well, most of my days right now are spent, like I said, going over Canadian Shield 2 and fixing the mistakes and lettering it. I'm on page 3. I just finished. Well, haven't done the lettering. I'll do the lettering after this show. I figured I'd come on here, do the lettering later, but I just finished up all the corrections on page 3.
And we have another guest. Hey, George.
Is this the Mike show?
This is the
Mike
open mic show. Grab your scalpel.
Hey, George.
Greetings.
How you doing, George?
I'm good.
You've been quiet today, George. I've been spying on your Discord, and you've been a busy guy in real life, apparently.
What do you mean? I've just been collecting the news.
This is true. This is true. And the news show will be coming on later tonight over on George's channel.
That's all I've been doing.
And George, if you want to share your link in the chat, feel free to do so.
Nah, it's okay. Let them all fish.
Look for youtube.com/George Peter Gatsis, and it will take you to the Joe King Adventure Hour. I keep thinking that Sunday should be a movie night. We lost Rick. Rick said, "Screw this, I'm out of here."
I don't know. He'll probably be back.
He probably dropped something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep wanting a Sunday night movie, George. Can we make that happen, or is Friday and Saturday just already enough?
Oh, Sunday night movie?
Yeah.
Sure. Or we can do the old oldies on Sunday.
You know, somebody should do something like you're doing, but with television shows. I mean, you're doing
I already looked into the television shows. There's no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Because I've been watching
the TV guys. They have it packed. They have it down pat.
Ah, darn.
Any TV shows that you see online,
yeah,
they're not public domain. Those are corporate channels, pretending to be, grassroots.
Oh, okay. So that one I saw with Henry Fonda and Ron Howard, the Smith family. I'm like, what the heck? I've never seen the Smith family. Never knew Ron Howard was in anything between Happy Days and the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah. No. It's Desi Lou and all the production studios that do TV. They had their notices are ready to go.
That's weird because I thought the Beverly Hillbillies for sure was, because everybody and their brother puts out a set of DVDs, and none of them do a complete set.
Yeah, well, that's licensing. That's not anything more than that. But it's still under protection.
Okay.
Protection.
Desi Lou, we were just talking about Star Trek fan films a little bit ago, and Star Trek would not have happened if not for Lucille Ball telling the board of directors, who had voted down Gene Roddenberry's production, to give this a chance. I think this will work.
Yeah. It took a woman's sensibilities to keep Star Trek together.
Yep.
Well, we were talking.
A woman's sensibilities to destroy it.
No, that was Star Wars.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, that's right.
We were talking about it because, of course, we were talking about Vic's fan film, Star Trek Continue, Vic Mignogna's, because we were talking about, his appearance on Chrissy Mayer's
his
podcast.
His tidy whitey oopsie. And that just kind of snowballed into his Star Trek, and then the Axanar film that raised $1 million on Kickstarter, and Paramount said, "Whoa, wait a minute now, that's a bit too much for a fan film." Now they did have a prelude to Axanar movie on YouTube, and they were allowed to keep that up and going. That was part of the settlement deal. They didn't have to take that down. But
I'm going to step away from the camera for a moment, guys. I'll be right back.
all right, it's the George and RJ show right now, and we'll just let's roast some news, George.
Okay.
Harder.
Well, you know, latest on Elon's whereabouts. He's somewhere in Qatar.
Somewhere in Qatar, or is his plane somewhere in Qatar?
I don't know. I don't talk plain news. I talk you know, real news.
Absolutely. Now, we might not have Elon for as long as we thought. He's been running polls, and you know, whatever the poll comes out, he says the people have spoken, and he does it. And his last poll was, Woody? I'm surprised and shocked at you. But his last poll was, should I continue running Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll.
83,000 votes right now, 58.6 to 41.4.
I know.
It's not going to happen.
Well, of course it's not. He'll still own it. Basically, he's already got a CEO picked out, and he's just going to put them in charge.
Yeah,
but he'll still own it.
Of course. the guy, you think you have a choice when he's putting out those polls? No. He's already you know, doing stuff. He's just making you think you're part of the process.
He's got 7,000 people ready to click that no button at the last minute.
Yeah, you know, the guy spent billions of dollars to buy the company. You think he's gonna let, you know, Joe Schmo dictate how to run the company? Come on.
Hey, dos populi, vox populi, vox dei.
I mean, you know, he says going forward there will be a vote for majority policy, major policy changes. My apologies won't happen again. And then he says, you know, should I step down head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of the poll. Oh, wait a minute. The numbers change.
The numbers change.
Yeah, it's 42.6% no, 57.4% yes.
We're catching up.
I know, it's flipped.
What is this? What, Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey?
Elon.
Elon. Well, Jack's out of the game. He doesn't have anything to do. But Elon's asking people if he should quit, and 57% of people.
And you love this. As the saying goes, be careful what you wish for, as you might get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know he's got some shenanigans planned.
He's got something planned. Of course,
there's no way he can run the company. He's got like 4 major companies, DOJ contracts. You think he's just gonna hang out on social media?
Troll Twitter all day long? He's done that. He's made this point to the journalists that they are not protected class anymore.
Yeah. So what do you say? What he was saying? I love Lucy. Show. Okay.
I would do that if my computer had a backward facing camera, because my window's right behind it, and I would just open the curtain back and show the bird feeder. And I get tufted tits eating at the bird feeder all the time. They're pretty little blue things with a little bit of a crown to the back of their head. They sound like cats. They go, eh, eh. They fight with the Carolina chickadees and the white-breasted nuthatches.
Whoa. Elon's latest tweet 19 minutes ago, he says, those who want power are the ones that least deserve it.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna reply to that one right there myself right now.
Yeah, I don't want it. I detest it. I despise it. Keep it away from me.
I want let's see for a second. I want electricity for my ongoing internet.
I want an electric car that I don't have to plug in. Runs on solar. That would be the dream. And in the grill, just put a bunch of little windmills that catch the wind as I'm driving that charge the battery even more. Yeah, with an E. Woody's been drinking tonight.
Well, he's been pretty active in the chat, yeah. And I'm happy for that. I'm always happy if we can get an active chat going along with the stream because
No. You can't hope for that. Just tell the chat.
Make it happen.
Don't look towards the chat to be active. They will become active the moment you say something spicy.
Yeah. So Woody, just drive on up here with me. We'll head over to Fayetteville, get some lunch at Twin Peaks on a Tuesday. Tuesday is lingerie day. So, and then, all of next week, they're going to be wearing Christmas costumes. So it's a good time to go in and get some steak.
You say they're going to fancy, they're just going to lingerie around.
Yeah. Yes, they do. They, they bring you your meal and then they walk away. I'm like, darn it. This is not what I paid for.
Lounging around in a very fancy way.
Yes. This is when you're an ugly guy. When you you walk in to a place like that, one of these restaurants, you pay for your meal, you leave a $20 tip, and then you come back the next time and they don't recognize you, they don't know who you are, and there's a fat guy in the corner who's there every single night, and they're just sitting on his lap, and he's got 3 girls attending to him, and you still can't get your fries. So lingerie. Yeah. Lingerie.
No. Speaking of Christmas,
it's coming.
As we are a week away. Now, first up, I know Rick had asked me about this if I was still going to do one for Christmas. I probably will. If it was Christmas Eve, probably no. But Christmas night, by the time Christmas night comes and New Year's night comes, everything's pretty much been done. So we probably will. I will have a show that night. Hopefully you all will join me. But as we were talking about Christmas here, what I'd like to talk about, I'll be a bit more specific this time because last time we got into more general. But what I'd like to hear from you guys are some of your favorite Christmas animated classics you remember watching growing up. I when I last asked this question, I just said Christmas classics, and we got into some more of the more like live action stuff. But what I'd like to know is what are some of the Christmas animated or cartoon classics you guys grew up on?
Well, does stop motion count as animated?
Chelsea's Pizza in Eureka Springs next week. I think that was meant for you there, RJ.
Yep. I don't know where that's at, but I know where Eureka Springs is at. So, yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that.
Well, I guess it could be RJ if
because I liked all the Rankin Bass stuff. The Rudolph. Stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is definitely classic. I like a lot of that stuff too.
I liked what Rankin Bass did with everybody loves Rudolph because they play it all the time. Everybody loves Frosty because they play it all the time. I liked the stuff that you had to catch it at the right time in order to see it because it was almost a rarity. Things like Nestor the long-eared donkey and the little drummer boy. They didn't get quite as much attention. You had to watch for them.
Actually, the last 2 or 3 years, those have been getting a little bit more attention because I think I don't know what it's called now, but like it used to be like Family Channel or the Fox Family Channel. They were showing it a lot more in recent years, but whatever that channel now is.
Yeah. But the thing with Rankin Bass was what made them unusual was they were always able to get a celebrity narrator to tell the story and then animate that narrator into it. You from Burl Ives to Andy Griffith to Jimmy Durante, Blue Baloo for Nestor the long-eared donkey. I can't remember who did Little Drummer Boy, but they always had somebody. Even the Easter ones.
A Little Drummer Boy, they didn't. They just had the narrator. They didn't actually have the narrator run into it. Anyway, let's get caught up a little bit here on some of these. I'm friendly with the guy that does sound there, so it might be a fun place to meet. Okay.
I know that guy Woody's a little stiff.
Oh, Greer Garson narrated the Little Drummer Boy.
Isn't that a girl?
Yeah,
That's a woman,
she
right?
was the narrator.
Yeah. Or 3 years from now, or 3 months, or 3 years, or forever.
Yeah, we'll get there sometime. Pizza sometime. I like
Esther the
red
long-eared donkey.
Yeah, Nesta the long-eared donkey. I want to say her name was Blue Baloo, but let me do a real quick check here. Do.
Yeah, over the years, Rankin Bass, they were known for a lot of their Christmas classics, but also, of course, the two mainstream stuff they were known for were Thundercats and Silverhawks as well.
Oh, Roger Miller did the narration on that one. Well, what did Blue Baloo do? I've got to find out now.
Now, George, I know you're up in Canada, so it might be a little bit different. But do you have any like favorite Christmas animated classics that you remember growing up on that you want to talk about or share with us?
Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie
You
Does
stinker! No, don't go corrupting Mike that way.
I take it that's not a Christmas animated classic. That sounds.
Oh yeah, it's definitely animated.
You got to open a present.
Yeah.
Something that's what R-rated, I guess.
No.
Beyond.
And not even R-rated.
Yeah, what?
Okay.
It wasn't R-rated. Yeah, it was. Oh dear.
Yeah, no, not even close. It wasn't even.
Yeah, well,
R-rated,
up in Canada, you had the the 9 days of back bacon that they would put out. All I want for Christmas is my toque and my front teeth, stuff like that.
RJ, here's another one that Woody's asking, I guess.
Roger Miller, yeah, Roger Miller was the guy who narrated Nesta the Long-Eared Donkey. I can't recall who I must. You'd think there'd be like an easy to read table that say, "Hey, these people narrated these things."
Well, you can always go get your information from IMDb.
Yeah, but then I got to look up each individual one. Surely somebody says, "Hey, Rankin Bass had a list of narrators. Here they all are." And Jules Bass just passed, less than 2 months ago. So
I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah, he passed on October the 25th of this year.
Well, I didn't catch that. Of course, if I had seen that, I would have probably reported on it if I had been made aware of it or known of it. But.
Yep. And technically, you're still watching Rankin Bass cartoons because when they split up, half of them went to Studio Ghibli.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a response from Tim on Facebook, so that's why I'm going. That's why if I don't say anything for the next.
Okay, here we go. Somebody does have a list of all of them. Yes. Wow. More of them than I knew. Rankin Bass did one in 2001 called Santa Baby, narrated by Eartha Kitt.
Wow, that must have been very interesting.
I would have liked to have seen that one. But obviously Burl Ives, Danny Thomas did the one, the Cricket and the Hearth. Greer Garson for the Little Drummer Boy, Jimmy Durante for Frosty the Snowman, Fred Astaire, Santa Claus Is Coming to Town, Joel Grey, wow, Master Chun himself, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, The Year Without a Santa Claus by Shirley Booth, Angela Lansbury did The First Christmas, Andy Griffith, Frosty's Winter Wonderland, Red Skelton was Rudolph Shiny New Year, Roger Miller, The Nestor, Tom Bosley did The Stingiest Man in Town, Mickey Rooney was Rudolph and Frosty, Buddy Hackett for Jack Frost, Art Carney for The Leprechaun's Christmas Gold, and like I said, Eartha Kitt for Santa Baby.
And this is the Saturday morning cartoon special.
No, these were the they would come out at night here.
Yeah.
You'd run home from school, and then at 7:00 Central, ABC would. First of all, you didn't see.
Hello.
Hey, Tim.
Hey,
That's how I'd be back there.
Well, I was messaging you back, when you messaged me, so that's why I didn't see you. I was off of the screen,
I went to.
and I came back. I saw you were here, so I just,
to
again for these, Tim, it's one of those things. It's more of a lax situation. It's not that you
Oh, okay.
have to come. I'd love it if you'd come every week, but I can understand if especially if you just coming off of Friday, if you feel that you're tired or whatever.
Greetings.
This is just more of a hangout kind of situation. And look who else is back.
Maybe
he's back.
He had the spiral of death there, but he's back.
My computer froze, and then I had to restart it, and I had a hard time.
Yeah, I went to.
Had a hard time.
Doesn't sound like it's any better, really. I think he just froze again. Of course, the classic stop motion animation was not even a Christmas special, but it was a Christmas.
Was it his name's Rankin Bass?
Yeah, the Rankin Bass stuff. But if you watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special, almost always that thing started off with the same commercial for Norelco razors, and it was the stop motion Santa Claus riding a Norelco razor over the hills of snow. And it was Rankin Bass stop motion animation that produced that.
I would love to see him when Halloween rolls around, a Mad Monster Party.
That was fun. That's my favorite Rankin Bass film.
Yeah. And he did all the holiday ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Rick left us again. I guess maybe he's still having issues.
I don't think he can connect well.
Yeah,
and
technical difficulties.
Yeah, and we just found out that Jules Bass, the half of Rankin Bass, was just passed this past October. So did not know he was still around. Or if I'd known, I would have hounded him for an interview on my channel. Would have loved to have gotten him on to,
Well,
talk to him about
I remember you did get Lou Shamer.
Yeah, I had Lou Scheimer, but it wasn't live. That was a phone call. I wasn't doing live at that time, but I did record it and I put it up on the channel later. So if people want to listen to me talk to Lou, it's there to be watched.
So what he's saying? All I want for Christmas is my toque front teeth.
Yeah.
Durante. To me, Eartha Kitt is Catwoman too.
Now, did anybody see the recent? Oh, not recent, but the 2019 Christmas Carol?
I don't know.
No, I've seen a number of the animated versions of the Christmas Carol.
This one is a little darker, and I guess it's rated TVMA. It's because it goes really in depth of why Scrooge is an awful person.
Is that the one with Christopher Walken as the porn star?
Jesus.
No.
Okay.
I don't know which one you're talking about. But
although it had better graphics and costuming, but
it was a pretty good one.
We're talking about animated classics.
They like to do Christmas Carol over and over again because it's a classic story.
I'd have to say this one is the best because I think the redemption arc is a little more realistic.
I'll have to look for it. I'm waiting to see that one with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, which is basically Elf and Deadpool Save Christmas, but
no, that's funny.
But
I would like to see Elf and Deadpool Save Christmas because that would be.
Oh yeah, it would. This is the closest we're going to get to it.
Rick is back. How are your connection issues, Rick?
I'm having. That's the problem. I'm having connection issues with my net for some reason.
See, it's George and Rick are both on at the same time, and that's taking up 75% of the Canadian bandwidth.
Yep.
Tell us what happened, Scrooge, and the other thing. Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. But Will Ferrell plays the Scrooge character, and Ryan Reynolds is the Spirit of Christmas Present. So I'm waiting to see that one. I did like A Christmas Story Christmas that came out this year. If you were a fan of the original Christmas Story, all the original actors came back.
And the other Christmas Carol, they basically Scrooge is basically heartless and just evil because his father raised him to be pretty much a cold, cruel businessman, and I think they kind of hinted at abuse.
Yeah. Dolphin,
would be
Deadpool, what not Christmas? Anyways, so Tim, do you have any like favorite Christmas animated classics you want to talk about?
Ooh, animated. Well, you can't go wrong with the original animated Grinch. Although I do like the live action one too.
I have got to find my cassette tape.
The Disney Christmas Carol was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yes. the Mickey and Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah, aptly named Scrooge McDuck for Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah. I've got to find my cassette tape that I've got somewhere stored away and get it converted to digital and put it online. Because you talk about the Grinch. I did an interview with Thurl Ravenscroft, who was the CBS studio player who sang the song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," and he talks about how that came about, and basically he didn't rehearse it. They pulled him in out of the hallway as sort of an emergency because Boris Karloff couldn't sing it. He knocked it out in 10 minutes and went back in the hallway and went to the assignment that he was supposed to be doing. That's why he didn't get any credit in the cartoon for decades until DVDs became a thing.
Yeah, the Flintstones had a number of good, including of course their own rendition of Christmas Carol, and we lost Rick again. Yeah, but the Flintstones had a number of good Christmas specials, including an adaptation of A Christmas Carol with, of course, Fred being voiced by Henry Corden, who had taken over for the late Alan Reed. Well, I know Henry Corden passed on at some point, in the last few years too. So
it's so weird listening to old time radio all the time and hearing Alan Reed do so many voices on so many shows before he became Fred Flintstone.
If you look for it, you can find old radio dramas on YouTube.
Yeah, I listened to the channel on my Sirius XM.
Yeah. So all right. Well, anyways, let me talk about some of my favorite Christmas animated classics.
Yeah, you haven't got to chime in.
Yeah. Well, of course, as I've always mentioned, of course, my all-time favorite is Yogi's First Christmas. It's pretty much one I pretty much grew up on.
I remember that one.
I was 5 years old when that thing debuted. Because it debuted on November 26, 1980. I turned 5 the previous month, so and I pretty much have watched that Christmas special. I think just about every year of my life. Maybe with the exception of about 5 times or so. But basically, that pretty much became a Christmas tradition for me.
You watched it this year?
I haven't yet, but I do plan to probably next Saturday. So, let's see. Also, another one I liked that involved bears was Santa and the Three Bears. That one was pretty good too. That one was from back in 1971. Had somewhat of a similar story to Yogi's First Christmas, even though it predated it by about 10 years. But that one was about 2 young cubs come to find out from their park ranger about Christmas, and now they're trying to stay up through all of winter when they're supposed to be hibernating because they want to wait for Santa Claus, and their mother getting involved, their mother not being too happy with the ranger for telling them that, and the disappointment and all that. So but it's a pretty good story. And that was one where you actually did have a mix. You did have both animated and live action. You basically had somebody in there portraying the ranger, as if he's like reading a story to his grandkids, and then you had the animated segments where you'd have the ranger like getting all ready for Christmas and stuff like that and dealing with the bears. But it's a good one. It's another one that I would highly recommend. It's kind of a nice little sweet one. Wow.
I like the Yogi Bear movie where he ends up discovering his father finally.
No, George. Who was this? Was his father a famous baseball catcher?
No. It turns out his father was a rug in the Rangers office all the time.
Well, let me get caught
Clutched
up
in
on
his
this
hand was
here.
a pack of cigarettes. He was going out for smokes that night.
Yes.
RJ, you have a
Yes, me and Thurl. It was and honestly, it was one of those conversations where I was doing them still on the phone and recording them and then typing them up. But you can't do an interview with Thurl Ravenscroft and fully get it across there in typing. You have to listen to him because he's Tony the freaking Tiger. That's where you heard him for decades, was when he would go, "They're great."
How you feeling?
him.
Not so great.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's saying. I need to replay this. My dad was a street bicycle song delivery guy and sang to Boris Koloff voice. Okay, that sounds interesting, Woody. Let's see. I think I'll stick to the chat today. Okay, cool, Rick. Well, thanks for being here, contributing. Yogi finds his father. Laugh out loud.
I remember a Yogi Bear cartoon series, and I want to say it was Yogi's Ark, but all I remember was every episode was like a lesson in society, and they were always in search of the perfect place, and they would find these villains who would like always seduce one of the characters on the ark to do bad things.
I think the title of the show was Yogi's Gang, but it followed up like that happened back in 1972.
Yeah.
And during the fall of that year, what they were doing what they called the Saturday Supercade movies, where they were showing movies to kind of preview potential series. And that was one, Yogi's Ark was the movie, and then I think Yogi's Gang was the TV show.
Yeah, and I think they found out like the perfect place was, home, just where you are is home. Just, but they dealt with a pollution guy, they dealt with a litter guy, they dealt with a betrayal guy, just like greed and envy. They took on almost like the 7 deadly sins in different forms that children could understand.
The original Super Friends series from '73 did something very similar. They had a lot of environmental messaging in that one. That was the one with Wendy and Marvin. That was pre Zan and Jaina. And they are great. Yeah. Let's see. And let's see. Second generation PC Yogi. Well, Yogi had a number of different series. He had his original series started back in 1961. It was actually a spin-off of the Huckleberry Hound, because originally Yogi was a feature on the Huckleberry Hound show in 1958, I believe. And then he moved over from that to his own show in 1961. And then, of course, he had, as we said, Yogi's Ark Lark and Yogi's Gang in
and then, of course, the Laugh Olympics.
Huh?
And then, of course, he went to the Laugh Olympics after that.
Yep. In 77.
Well, but do you know why? He split off and went to his own show.
He got popular. That's why. He got popular enough to where he could carry his own show. Yogi Bear eventually became the big character for Hanna-Barbera.
There's actually a Jellystone Park campsite / amusement park in St. Louis, right next to Six Flags. I guess I shouldn't say St. Louis. I guess I should say Eureka, Missouri.
Really, Yogi's got his own theme park.
Yeah. Jellystone Park is Eureka, Missouri.
And then Yogi also had a show in the late '80s called Yo Yogi, where he's trying to, kind of an updated version of Yogi, kind of more like
he's a
this
hit
and all that, And
I'm
then
not
there was
big
the
into
fantastic world of Hanna-Barbera, where it's part of. So
Hey, boo boo, turn up the boombox.
I don't think the ranger's gonna like the noise, Yogi.
Well,
Let's
screw
talk
the
up
ranger,
Jack
boo
and
boo.
the Ranger's ass. The Ranger's a bitch, Yogi.
that old So Mary Chuckleberry. Yeah. And then we have Huckleberry Hound. Okay, yep, that's who we were talking about.
Has
Yeah,
anybody
what
ever seen Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, when he was representing those old characters in court?
I've seen episodes of that, yes.
Yeah, I've seen some. There was the one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like there was the one where there was the whole.
Yeah,
There
you
was
know,
the one
Harvey
where, like,
Birdman was a recovery.
Apache Chief tried to like sue a coffee company because he burned his.
I can no longer enlarge, even in the mornings.
Harvey Birdman was a recovering alcoholic. You know that, right?
Yeah, he was actually.
Yeah, I think they kind of hinted at that. They also he got addicted to tanning cream, I guess.
Yeah, he was flying under the influence.
Oi. Yes. Well, he was. Yeah.
No, I like that he had to represent Boo Boo because he was accused of being a terrorist.
And he was. That was the funny part.
And then I think another running gag on that show was Avenger carrying around the corpse of Scrappy Doo.
Yes.
Oh, that Scrappy Doo. Yeah.
That show just ruins everything in your childhood, and you laugh at it.
Well,
anyway.
I mean, come on, like with the Jetsons. Yes, talking ape man. We're from the far off year of 2002, and he looks at his calendar. It's 2004.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, did you you know how accurate the Jetsons were, right?
Right.
You
Well, I mean,
go to the office.
Go back even further in time, George.
No. Also, you go to the office and you press buttons, and then you go home.
That's my job. Seriously, I go in and I press a button. I go home.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, the computers are doing the work for us. They're even drawing our pictures, George. But we won't talk about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that episode was hilarious, especially when they had to walk from the entrance of the office to the desk, and it was like unbearable for them.
Yes.
And I'll get Rick. I see your comment. I'll get to it in a moment. I want to mention something here. So, for many people, I think in the late '70s and early '80s, the guy who would become synonymous as the voice of Santa Claus was Hal Smith. He was in a number of Christmas specials as Saint Nick, and he was pretty good. And then he eventually went on to voice John Avery Whitaker in the Christian cartoon Adventures in Odyssey. But he was always good to listen to. He was, of course, among his credits included, of course, Yogi's First Christmas. I think he was in at least one of the Flintstones Christmas specials. I don't know if it was Christmas Carol or even Flintstones Christmas, but Hal Smith was for a while their synonymous as the voice of Santa Claus in a number of Christmas specials in the 70s and 80s. Anyways, before you guys respond, I want to highlight Rick here. When the amusement park in Toronto was started in the early 80s, Canada's Wonderland, its kids area, was based on Hanna-Barbera. Oh,
that'd be cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I always wondered why Rankin Bass hated Santa Claus, because if you look at their cartoons,
it's a public domain figure, and they can't make money off of it.
Okay. They always made him look like a jerk.
Well, yeah, because they wanted people to focus on their original properties and make money off of toys and games and all that stuff, and not Santa Claus. You know, can you imagine a Santa Claus Monopoly set with or a Santa Claus Parcheesi set, or a Santa Claus chess set, or a Santa Claus
why don't these things exist?
Stratego? Because it's a public domain figure. They can't make money off of that.
Well, I don't.
Well, I mean, if they can make money on their,
I don't know if I necessarily agree with your assessment of how they depicted Santa Claus, and because Rankin Bass did have They did do a Santa Claus Christmas special. Here Comes Santa Claus.
They
Yeah,
did that.
but that's Santa Claus. If you pay attention, everything he said, everything he did, he was a recovering alcoholic.
No, he wasn't, George.
But in Rudolph, he was mean
George,
to Rudolph.
funny.
He was prejudiced. Rudolph's like, oh, you can't lead the sleigh. You got a red nose. Too bad. You showed such promise. He said.
Yeah, and the reason why he said he got a red nose is because he reminded Santa Claus of his red nose when he was drunk.
That's so obvious.
The whole story of Rudolph, with the whole
Gosh.
story of Rudolph,
Right?
that was in the original tale to begin with. That wasn't Rankin Bass. That was actually in the original.
The original tale was a song.
You know, the original tale of Santa Claus is he was a Viking who had a moose for a horse.
No, actually, if I remember correctly, he was an actual like monk, I think. Because I think the Legend of Santa Claus.
Well, that's after he gave up killing people because there was no one else to kill.
Okay. Do you want to know who the writer is who gave us most of the lore of Santa Claus?
Oh yeah, that's easy. William Shakespeare.
Yeah, William Shakespeare. Come on, William Shakespeare existed before Saint Nicholas of Emmaus. No, the lore of Santa Claus. Santa Claus is actually a resident of Oz. L. Frank Baum.
Why didn't
wrote,
we see it? It's so obvious.
Well, no, L. Frank Baum wrote the life and adventures of Santa Claus, and he says where Santa Claus was born, which was one of the provinces of Oz, which L. Frank Baum was writing all about. And that whole book was turned into. First of all, it's a beautifully illustrated book by Michael Plug. If you can find it in hardcover, I have a copy of it. But it was also turned into an animated special through the Rankin Bass people. They abbreviated it a lot because it was a larger book. But yeah, originally his first written adventure is he's an Oz guy.
It wasn't
George. Woody has something to say to you there.
Oh, okay.
Want to read that?
Wasn't the image that we're all associated with Santa Claus? Isn't that like something from like an ad campaign though?
Coca-Cola.
George dashes my hopes for free money.
Yep, because you can't. I think if somebody wanted to, because you don't have to license Santa Claus, you could make a Christmas themed Monopoly board.
Well, the Santa Claus that we know and love, the way he is now, is actually ownership of Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Now,
And,
is it ownership?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I believe, was a ad campaign for a department store of some sort.
Yeah, it was for lingerie.
It wasn't for lingerie, but yes, the department store did. The guy wrote it for his kids, and then they sold it in the department store as a little story, and then it was given to Gene Autry to perform as a song.
Yeah,
and Gene Autry didn't want to do it.
So what he was asking Shakespeare.
No, Shakespeare had nothing to do with Santa Claus, but the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's what people say.
Well, it was one of his nom de plumes because he didn't.
From George's reality that Shakespeare wrote it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't trample on his dreams.
It's not
Gene
a dream.
Autry put Rudolph on the B side.
I was there. The guy used the number 2 quill.
Did he?
I know you're old, George, but you're not that old.
Yeah.
You don't have to be old to travel in time. Gosh.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know. Jeez.
Back to the Future is based on George's life, don't you know?
And Rick is saying, I think Gene Autry did the, I guess he meant to say Santa Claus, but I guess he added an A in there. Santa Claus coming to song Wolf.
Yeah, but Gene Autry and the Pinafores had done Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it was basically he had done the A side of the song that was really being released, and they were trying to figure out what they were going to do for the B side, and Gene Autry's wife was the one who said, "Why don't you do that cute little song about the reindeer?"
Hey, what was the nickname for the A side?
I don't know.
Fonzie.
Really? Okay. Hey, I get it.
Is George jumping the shark, maybe?
Oh.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
We all did. Oh,
The best episode of them all.
We watched that episode live.
oh, the pain, the pain.
Yeah. Oh, Tim muted himself because I was just about to move on to something else.
Yeah, the
well,
other side was if it doesn't snow on Christmas. He was trying to do a Christmas song, and they said, "Hey, why don't you put this one there?" And then that became the more popular song, so they flipped it and made it the A side.
Yeah. So, since Tim is here, I wanted to see if he wanted to talk about some of his impressions from Friday, since I know he had to step out due to some family issues. But
no, not family issues. It's just that the house was crowded and there's nowhere to go. So
yeah. But anyways, I wanted to give Tim a chance if he wanted to share some of his
what
experiences from what we were reading on
another
Friday.
masked Marvel book, wasn't it?
What was that?
It was another mass Marvel story. I remember that part.
Well, let's see. We had the Speed Centaur story too.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a ridiculous story.
Want to explain to everybody why it was ridiculous, or why you thought it was
Centaur is a Centaur. This dude was like half man, half horse, walking around in like freezing temperatures with no shirt.
Oh, he's a Centaur. Come on. They don't have seamstresses because the hooves and the sewing machines. They don't
Right.
Yeah. The original senpai.
Right. Anyway, to me, it was just a ridiculous idea. It's like I can see why this character didn't catch on.
It's like, how can we do a Superman story but not be Superman? How about he's the last Centaur and he's rescued by a reporter, a retired reporter turned into a mountain man who goes back to being a reporter to fight crime in the city with the help of Speed Centaur.
Yeah,
I'd love to have seen what his secret identity was, how he kept that hidden from everybody.
He just puts a horse mask on and says, "I'm a horse."
You're kidding.
He was a mild manner racing horse.
There you go.
Actually, you know what's kind of funny about that, George? Actually, one of the comments that was mentioned on the Comics Book Plus page that I read from, one of the actual comments from one of the people on there actually said, "I bet this guy could have made a lot of money if he entered himself in horse races."
Because
I would hate to see the how he would use a public restroom though.
He'd have to have his own.
He'd have to have some way of reaching back there.
He would have to use it. The restroom would have to be adjacent to the dolphin restroom.
Exactly.
Dolphin restroom.
Or he'd just probably go out like a horse and just that he's walking along.
No, that's illegal. Come on, man, show some class.
Grab the broom.
Maybe not in Portland. In Portland, you're allowed to go on the street.
Yeah, San Francisco too.
Classic.
But that's that's only for humans. If a dog poos on the street on San Francisco, you still have to pick
Centaurs don't have to follow that rule there.
So, yeah, I mean, and I know, Tim, you'd already let. I think you may have caught the first part of the Science Detective. That one was a pretty good story too. Dean Denton. That one's an interesting feature. It's about a guy who works in Hollywood who becomes a detective, but he did, in the story we were reading from that one, he basically was trying to convince one of his female actress friends that the cult she belonged to was not all that good, and he was able to use science to prove that it was not all that good. So,
I gotta take off, guys. It's almost 8:30.
Oh, you got to take it. Okay. Before you go, then RJ, I want to give you a shot. If you want to promote anything, put any links up or anything like that.
Well, I would say criticalblast.com is the website, and all social medias is Critical Blast, but I can't say all social medias because Elon might take me down. because you can't mention any of your other social medias on Twitter anymore.
Oh no.
Why?
You just point to your domain site.
Yes. Yes.
I got.
I never heard this. How come you can't mention your other social media?
Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to cut down on child porn. And yeah.
He's basically edited
every site that he's blocking access to is riddled with it. That's the thinking behind his thing.
Yeah, he's not allowing any links to your Facebook account, your Gab, not your Gab account on it. Strangely enough, your Gab account's fine. Your Truth Social,
Yep.
your Instagram.
Yeah, he knows something. He hasn't released it, but I'm sure there was a great deal of coordination between the child abuse across all these platforms, and he's cutting it.
He's going to punish all the people who are not doing that stuff by not allowing us to share our webcomics or.
Apparently, yeah.
Well,
here's the thing: you can't link to your Facebook profile, but he says you can still link to content on these other sites. So it can't just be. He doesn't want your Twitter account to just be a come here to find out where I am on Facebook kind of thing. If all you do is say, hey, check out my OnlyFans page, then he's like, no. But apparently, if you have a story on Facebook and you put that over there, that's not the same thing.
Or if you have a video or like on YouTube or anything like that.
Yeah, he didn't say YouTube. You can still link to YouTube.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can't link to Pornhub, but you can link to a video on Pornhub.
It's weird. Anyway, I got to run. I'll see you guys later.
Right. Thanks for being here, RJ, and I do appreciate it. Hopefully you'll come back and catch the end at some point on the replay, because remember I still do the this.
Yeah, I gotta grab my dinner and whatnot, so
I'll see you then.
Say, hey.
Yeah, I gotta go too, because I got a half hour to set up everything for the show tonight.
All right. Well, it does look like everybody's taken off, so I guess what we'll do here, since we're at the hour and a half mark already, I guess I'll do this day in Nietzsche, this weekend in Nietzsche history, and then wrap things up here a little early. So, anyways, so today is Sunday, December 18th, 2022. So let's take a look back at this day this weekend, rather. In Nietzsche history, as we do have some very interesting tidbits here and there. Just double checking some stuff here real quick, and then we will get to that. Well, kind of.
Yeah, this day in history was the very first lingerie advertisement on TV.
Anyways, George, you're all too funny.
They showed stockings.
Okay, well,
hung on the chimney with care.
Yeah, 60 years ago today, back in 1962, and it was actually the full weekend that this happened. UA actually, United Artists had some interesting stuff come out, as on the 17th, Abe Levito's Gay Paris premiered on this date back in 1962. The plot, the story is set in 1895 France and takes place predominantly in Paris. Gay Paris, of course, based on the expression "gay Paris," gay Paris. However, it begins on a farm in rural Providence. The lovely cat Musette and the accomplished but shy mouser Jean Tom are in love. Musette, until the former is frustrated with his plebeian ways, and those on the basically she ends up moving to the city. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just enough. Among the voice cast included Judy Garland, Robert Goulet, Red Buttons, Hermione Gingold, and Paul Frees, and Mel Blanc. Those are but on this date back in 1960, on December 17th, yesterday's date, back in 1972. UPA's Gay Paris, directed by Abe Levito, premiered on this date. And also on the same weekend, the following day, on the 18th, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol debuted on television, starring, of course, Mr. Magoo himself. Again, another Christmas Carol animated classic right here. Of course, Mr. Magoo, voiced by the late, great Jim Backus, who we all also probably remember as Thurston Howell III from Gilligan's Island. So that happened on this weekend 60 years ago. And, of course, among the voice cast included, of course, Paul Frees, who was in a number of movies back then, provided his voice back then for a number of features. Maury Amsterdam, Joan Gardner, Jack Cassidy. Again, another movie that was directed by Abe Levito, or another special that was directed by Abe Levito. So on today's date, 60 years ago today, Mr. Magoo's Christmas special.
Wait, Paul Frees, is that Mr. Freeze's brother or related to Mr. Freeze?
No.
Okay.
Paul Frees was an actor, voice actor, pretty well known for a lot of works in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. Let's see. Aside from a lot of he provided voice for a lot of Rankin Bass stuff, for a lot of their Christmas specials, but also he voiced the Thing in the 1967 Fantastic Four cartoon. I do remember that. So anyways, that happened on this weekend back in 1962. Moving on to 1972, 40 years ago today. That was 50 years ago today, sorry. 50 years ago in 1972. Tokyo Movie Shinsha's, which today we know is TMS Entertainment's Panda Ko Panda, or translated in English, Panda Go Panda, debuted on this date in movie theaters back in 1972. This is, of course, a film that was directed by Isao Takahara, written by Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli fame, and then who also did the layout and scene design, and then animation direction from Yoichi Kotabe, and animation direction also by Yasuo Otsuka. So on this date, 50 years ago today, Panda Ko Panda, or literally translated as Panda Baby Panda, premiered in Japan. This is during what they called the panda craze back in 72, when China had loaned a couple of baby pandas to the Ueno Zoo. So that happened on this date back in 1972. And then now moving on to some more niche history. And we head now to 2003. So 19 years ago today. On this date, 19 years ago, the 10th issue of Brat, Cross-Gen Comics, went on sale on this date, sold for $2.95, 32 pages. Story was written by Chuck Dixon, penciled by Andrea DeVito. Roland Harris did the inking. Also doing some inking and coloring was Rob Schwager, and then Dave Lanphier did the lettering. So on this date, in 2003, 19 years ago today, CrossGen, the 10th issue of Brat from CrossGen went on sale on this date. And finally, 15 years ago today, as soon as I can get over here, this.
Wow.
15 years ago today, on this date back in 2007, on December 17th, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the HSBC Arena in Buffalo, New York. It was let's see, it was the Monday Night Raw right after I think it was their Armageddon pay-per-view. Let's see. It was the next day after pay-per-view. I do remember that because I did see it. But on the main event, Shawn Michaels and Jeff Hardy team up to defeat Mr. Kennedy and Randy Orton. Also, Ric Flair defeated Umaga by countout. Cody Rhodes and Hardcore Holly had retained the World Tag Team Championships over Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. Triple H defeated William Regal and Jonathan Coachman in a 2-on-1 handicap match. The night started off with a 6-woman tag match. More specifically, Santa's Little Helper tag match, in which Mickey James, Maria, Kelly, Michelle McCool, 8 women, defeated Melina, Jillian, Layla, and Victoria. So that's all that happened on this weekend in history. I thank everybody for being here. Well, I wrap things up by first off just finishing off the comics here. Nietzsche. Here we go. The Mr. Scrooge Christmas Carol is really probably my favorite production of all time. Mr. Magoo as Scrooge, that is. Yep. That is a cool one. Anyways, guys, I thank everybody for being here. George, thank you for being here once again. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yep.
I hope to see everybody back here throughout the week. Of course, we'll be back to doing the Nietzsche Newscast tomorrow night. Oh, actually, before I do all that, George, would you like to promote anything? Would you like to share any links, promote your channel?
No. Unnecessary. Everybody on the internet knows where I am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I gave you a chance if you wanted to. Just common courtesy.
Yeah.
So with that, guys,
just Google that person who shall not be named, and you'll find me.
Okay. Anyways, with that, guys, I thank everybody for being here. I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow night, Monday through Thursday. Of course, we do the Nietzsche Newscast where I go over, the Nietzsche news of the week or the day, and then on Fridays our historical comic retrospect. This Friday, of course, RJ will be joining me, and we will be continuing our look at comics that went on sale in July of 1939. This week, we'll be focusing on Fox feature publications. And among the characters we'll be looking at, of course, is some of the early works of Blue Beetle, of course, The Flame. So I hope to see everybody back. Back here tomorrow night, as well as throughout the rest of the week, and next Sunday when we are all back here again to talk Nietzsche. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I bid you all good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.